Hi, I'm Charlie from Gateway to Anime, and this is my review of Blue Lock the movie, episode Nagi. Now, just to be really clear, this movie exists as a prelude, basically, to season 2. So it acts as sort of a linking movie in that way. So it retells the events, but with the added extra point being that it's from perspective of another character, which I do think is actually a good way to release what essentially is a recap movie. Your enjoyment for this movie is going to be dependent on your tolerance of having some of the footage from season 1 rehashed again. It depends on how okay you are with that or whether you need entirely new content to enjoy or justify a movie ticket. If you have prior knowledge of Blue Lock, I think you're going to have an easier time watching this movie. So I recommend seeing season 1 or at least watching a recap. If someone's taking you to this movie that you haven't seen just to give you a taste of it, I think it might be a good way to kind of recognize whether or not you're going to be into the series in general, because it's as stylized and extreme as we come to expect from Blue Lock. Blue Lock the movie, episode Nagi, is about Nagi, who in the series of Blue Lock is a kind of secondary character, bit of a fan favourite, who we don't meet until about halfway through the series. This time we see the events of season 1 of Blue Lock, but through his eyes. So Nagi as a protagonist in this film is very, very different to who we're used to following in Blue Lock. I think that his kind of reluctant genius is entertaining because he's kind of funny with his one-liners, and his journey and growth in the series ends up being really interesting. I think he's better as a side character in this movie. Is like the perfect amount of time to see and get to know him. Like, he's a very fun character to follow, and it's good to get some insight into his change that happens, which I think without the backstory isn't as powerful. When it comes to the new original content in this movie, I think the strongest point is obviously the relationship between Reo and Nagi, and I think that they cover this incredibly well. I was really rooting for that friendship, and even though I knew what was coming, it still was painful. I think that they managed to really get that across and understand a really important friendship and what it is like to grow apart and have a friend breakup, which are the worst breakups. This movie also kind of reframes the big game that these teams have against each other in season 1, and that is the main kind of climax of the narrative, and it's fun to watch that from the perspective of the other team. We got a little bit of that in the series, but it's good to see it again. And also just small things like the game of tag. It's really fun to see another Blue Lock team do that, because we obviously know how iconic it was when it happened in the series. It's fun to see another team's version. Like, I love all that stuff. I would really love to see how every kind of Blue Lock team did in those scenarios. I could watch a movie of all of them just to catch myself off and be like, who was a genius in that one? Like, who did good in this and who got eliminated in that moment? Like, I kind of find the whole Blue Lock premise, as ridiculous as it is, like really fun in that way. It's all a series of like exam arcs, which is my bread and butter. I do think, once again, the CG reliance in Blue Lock is, I was kind of expecting, because it was a movie production, it to be of a higher quality than the series, but I would say it's about the same level of animation as the series. It doesn't appear to be kind of, they've elevated it in that way, but it's strong enough and it's enjoyable, and the dialogue makes me laugh. Like, weirdly, the Blue Lock humor in this is quite good. And I think these two characters' dynamics work, the voice acting is great. It is what you would expect from Blue Lock. It's hard to compare things like Mugen Train or Jujutsu Kaisen, because those are all made for the cinema and had a lot of original content and were canon and were big, kind of more of a cinematic event. So I can understand why people were disappointed that this one didn't follow suit, but it's hard to compare them because this one is kind of a recap with a spin on it. As long as you know that, I think it's enjoyable. It's very hard to not draw comparisons between this movie and the Haikyu movie, which is Haikyu the Dumpster Battle, which came out in cinemas a couple of weeks ago, because they have similar themes. Not only are they both sports anime, they both follow a similar kind of character who is a side character who is a reluctant protagonist. So you've got this energy. I'm not saying they're similar. I think Haikyu and Blue Lock are incredibly different energies, and I think they're very different examples of sports anime. But I think that if you look at it on paper, you could see why these two films would be compared. Different though, because one is retelling events and the other one, Haikyu, is adapting future events and things we haven't seen adapted before, so they are different in that way. But I think if you're gonna want to go see one of these movies, I would say Haikyu is probably a bit stronger. But I think it's because I'm actually more of a Haikyu fan than I'm a Blue Lock fan, so that also could play into it, so I don't really know. But this movie, again, it's kind of hard to judge it from a perspective of narrative filmmaking and what it's like to enjoy a movie standalone without bringing your personal feelings of a series into it, which I find hard when I'm reviewing these movies. Blue Lock the movie, episode Nagi, is out now in Australian cinemas and worldwide and other places as well. It's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Blue Lock. And again, it is a really nice little piece to go along with the fact that season 2 is airing in October, which I am very excited about. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will be very interested to hear how people react to this film. We've got a lot of Blue Lock content on our channel, so if you're a fan, please check out some of our videos. We've got interviews, recaps, like that. I've also got a couple of reviews on other movies, such as the Haikyu Dumpster Battle and Slam Dunk. They're all sports movies, so please check out how I feel about anime sports movies on our channel. If you like more content like this, you can like and subscribe. We also have our socials on Instagram and TikTok. And if you really like us, you can check out our Patreon where we have exclusive content. So thanks again for watching. I've been Charlie from Gateway to Anime, and please have a nice day.